Hey guys, it's Steph and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be testing out the brand new NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation, which I have been dying to try out for the longest time. And judging by the amount of DMs I've gotten from you guys have been wanting to see this as well. So those of you that follow me over on Instagram and Twitter, little plug right up here, you may know that I recently went to a lunch with NYX for the launch of their foundation, and they gave every single person at that lunch this box. It's literally like the size of me. But inside, let me just try and open this up because, okay. So this, I can't even fit it all in the screen. This is what came in the box. Let me just get rid of all those little pieces of paper. See you later. So basically, I'm just going to put this in front of my head for a minute. Ta-da! So as you can see, they gave us 3 full size, so they did actually colour match that to us. So those colours are kind of what NYX thought would suit me. And then they gave us every other shade that's in the range. And guys, there are 45 shades in this foundation. That, my friends, is how you do a foundation launch. So as you can see, there's like a pretty spot on color range. You go from the darkest here to the lightest up here. There it is. I was looking at my viewfinder then. And I love the fact that they gave it to us in smaller sample sizes, because obviously when I get to like these rows, I'm never really going to be using them. So it's kind of a waste for me to actually have the bottles. So I love the fact that they gave it to us so we could actually see the colors and swatch them. But along with the foundations, they've also released a new Can't Stop Won't Stop primer, and they have a little sponge to go with it as well. There we go. It's the Complete Control Blending Sponge, so I'm going to give that a go in a second. And then they also gave us a stopwatch. Now, I want to tell you about this little stopwatch. I'm putting this down for a second. This bloody thing has been beeping every hour at 29 minutes past every single hour. And I've had this now for maybe like 10 days or so. This has been beeping every single hour, and I can't figure out how to turn it off. I've tried every single button, every single combination. I don't know how to turn this off. So, thanks, NYX. Thank you so much. So inside that box as well, they also gave us a few little leaflet type things. So this shows all the different shades. So obviously they've got warm undertones, neutral undertones, and cool undertones, which I think is really, really cool. So take a look at that. Screenshot that if you guys are curious, if you want to know your color. So there's that. And let me just see. It's got a little bit of information about this foundation. It says up to 24-hour wear. Waterproof, doesn't block your pores, suitable for normal, oily, combination, and sensitive skin types. So this basically sounds like the best foundation in the world. I think that's all the boring details. Oh, and it's £15. So not the cheapest foundation in the world, but NYX is normally a little bit more up there. But if it's good, I can get on board with a £15 foundation. So these are the shades that NYX gave me in the full size. So we have Buff, we have Classic Tan, which looks a little bit too dark for me, and then we also have Beige. I think I wear Beige for the droppy foundation, but to me that looks a little bit too yellow right now, so I think I might go in with Buff to start off with. But I mean, if that doesn't work, then I'm sure one of these 45 shades will. So without further ado, let's try this shit out. Okay, so like I said, we have the Can't Stop Won't Stop primer. I think what I might do is try this on one side of my face. It's a matte primer, which scares me, but I'm going to try it. I like a lot of NYX primers, so I'm going to give it a go, but I do want to try it. I can't get into this packaging. I'm only going to try this on one side of my face today, purely because obviously I want to test out the foundation, but I also want to see how it kind of wears with this guy. So let's just take this off. Delicious. Okay, let's see what it's like. Is it going to be a gel? Is it going to be like a pore filly one? Oh my god, this is solid. Oh, look at it. Look at it. It's like one of those blackheads. If you're into like, ooh, okay, it's not silicone-y. I was going to say if you're into like those spot popping videos, that's what it kind of reminded me of. Sorry. Okay, I don't know how we apply this. I guess just kind of like half tap it, half blend it in. I don't know. Oh, that's sticky. Kind of. It's very tacky. Okay. Oh, and it dries down very, very quickly. I feel like the best way to apply this, just by how it feels, is to just kind of like press it. So maybe like warm it up a little bit and then just like blend it out by pressing. Wait a minute. Oh, that's made my skin look really good. Like just on my pores especially, this is like the area I notice it most. I feel like my skin looks like it's kind of got a little bit of coverage because it looks more like evened out almost. Oh shit. That has dried down like, you can't feel this at all on your skin, but it feels very smooth. Like this literally feels like it's filled in everything. My face feels so smooth, very matte though. Yeah, in comparison to this side, I can still feel like some of the texture on my skin, like a few little like under the skin block pores or whatever. But with this, it's just like smooth. Okay, so what shade did I say I was gonna go for? Buff? think buff looks about right. So it says on the back, shake it. So I'm going to shake it. I'm going to shake it. Let me get my little brush. So again, like I do in all of my foundation review videos, I'm just going to apply this with my usual everyday makeup brush. This one's from Iconic. It needs a wash. So I'm going to apply it with that on one side. And on the other side, I'm going to try it this guy. So I'm going to be taking buff. There we go. It's got a little pump. I'm curious to see how like thick it is. Oh, I thought it was going to be really thick, but you can see it's actually sliding on down my hand there. All right. Okay, so I'm going to take some of that. And before I get any comments about I'm applying too much, you must be new here because I apply a lot of foundation. I always have done. Probably always will. I'll probably be like 70 years old with like 4 layers of foundation on my face. But it's just what I like to do. Oh, that looks like a good color, I think. Close enough. Come on, Nick. Let's see what you got. Blend that in. We definitely have coverage. Maybe a little bit too light for me, but by the time I bronze out, it'll be fine. A bit more on the back of my hand. It is very, very matte, but it doesn't look cakey, which is good. It does just look very, very, very matte. There's no real shine to my skin or anything like that. Take a little tiny bit more just for my forehead. Should probably put my hair up, but it is what it is. It has gone into my hairline a little bit, like you can kind of see it. So I would be careful around your hairline. Whoa, that is super matte. But I don't hate it. Like, it does look very matte, but it doesn't look cakey. It doesn't look overly thick because it does feel very, very lightweight. Like, to be fair, I don't actually feel anything on this side of my face in comparison to this side. And bear in mind, I've got a primer and a foundation on here. So it is very, very lightweight. Go down the side of my nose. Yeah, it's incredibly matte, but I actually quite like the finish of it. Okay, so now we're going to try it out with this sponge. And I've planned ahead here, guys, because I have a little bowl filled with water. So I'm going to do the lazy method, and I'm going to just soak up my sponge here. Sinks right over there, but I've got a sponge. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, shit, that's massive. That's what she said. Okay, let me just wring this guy out. So this is what the sponge looks like. It's pretty big. I didn't actually show you guys what it looked like before, but it's got like a lot of flat sides to it. So obviously you've got the rounded butt to it. It's got a point right at the tip. Then it's got like a sharper edge here that I guess would be good for going under your eyes. It's got a flat side here, a bigger flat side here. So it's a pretty interesting shape, actually. Feels a little bit denser than, say, I don't think I have one around here, but just like a regular beauty blender. It does seem a little bit more dense, but it does feel very soft. And it's only dense like in the center of this bit. It's not dense on the tip, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's what the sponge looks like. Let's give it a go. So we're going to take the buff foundation again. Pop some on the back of my hand. Do like 1.5 pumps. I don't even know which side to use first. Okay, I'm going to use the flat side. So just picking up like that much. I don't know if you can hear that. It is quite stiff, but it is getting in all the little crevices so far. Okay, it seems to go on a lot more nicely with a sponge. Like, it goes on absolutely fine. There's like no issues with it with a brush, but with a sponge, it just seems to kind of blend in a lot quicker almost. See what it can do with these dark circles. Yeah, this just kind of like almost presses it into the skin. And I feel like it gives me, no, I was going to say I think it gives me more coverage, but I think it gives me about the same. Get it right on in that eyeball. Definitely prefer it without the primer. It just looks a lot more glowy without it, which I kind of thought. I never go for matte primers, but it is still good to see. But like, you can see just like my regular moisturizer on underneath, which is what I do for all of my foundation reviews again. It just looks a lot more glowy, which is what I prefer. Yeah, way better with a sponge, which again is weird because like my last video, again, preferred it with a sponge a lot more than a brush, but I always use a brush over a sponge. So maybe these foundation reviews are telling me something. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, but like this side looks a lot more kind of glowy and like healthy looking. Whereas this side with the matte primer does just look a lot more matte and flat, which may work if you have very oily skin. I personally have very normal skin. The only oily areas I kind of get are like on my chin and then sometimes in between my eyebrows if it's like time of the month. 110% prefer it on the side without the primer. But yeah, I was kind of expecting that because obviously matte primers aren't usually my thing. This side looks good, man. This side looks good if that's what you're into. Like, it looks a little bit, it doesn't look dry, but it does look a little bit more dry than this side because this one does look a little bit more glowy. But this looks good so far. And the color's actually decent as well. I was expecting that to be a little bit too light for me, but actually, by the time I add a little bit of bronzer on my cheek, that'll be like my perfect shade. So for those of you that want to know what shade I wear, because I do get a lot of questions like that sometimes, I'm wearing buff today and it's a pretty spot on match. Yeah, I love that. The way that looks on my skin, especially on the side without the primer, I am very, very impressed so far. Also, what I'm going to start doing in my foundation review videos, again, as you guys mentioned in one of my previous videos, is I am going to start taking a few little clips from my phone so you can see how the foundation looks on my skin in natural light, because obviously I know sometimes it is a little bit difficult to tell what things look like on someone with all these lights. But I will do close-ups with this camera, and then I'm also going to do close-ups kind of right against the mirror so you can see what it looks like on my skin. But yeah, so far I am digging that. I almost feel like I kind of prefer the matte side in my oily areas, so like maybe a little bit around my nose. It does look a bit better with that matte primer like around here. So I prefer it on this side, on this area. Chin looks kind of the same, but it is like the cheeks and everything that does look a little bit more glowy. So maybe I'll start using that primer like, I don't know, around my nose, a little bit on my chin, so actually on my oily areas, because it does kind of perfect the skin a lot. I just do kind of prefer the glowiness on my actual cheeks. That looks good. And I think I used like 2 pumps. Not bad going. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do now is, as always, I'm just going to head off camera, do my usual like everyday makeup, and check back with you guys in a second so we can see how it looks with powder and everything like that. I'm also going to do a few little cutaways of what it looks like in this lighting close up, and then also in natural lighting as well. So they should be on screen right now. So yeah, I'm going to go check on a full face, and I will check back with you guys in a second. All right, you guys, so makeup is done. I think I literally did my makeup in like 15 minutes then. It's like a world record, I swear to God. I'm really into this. Like even on the matte side with like the matte primer, I still really, really like how it looks. I feel like it's kind of settled into my skin a little bit more. Still prefer this side, but I always prefer something that's a little bit more glowy. Let me go in for a closer look. I love that. And I've got to say, like, so far it hasn't creased around my mouth yet, which was the problem that I had with the Revolution foundation. Like, both sides, there's, like, no creasing. I find that my skin actually looks a little bit smoother without the primer almost, because it does look a little bit more, like, moisturized. But it looks good. I'm, like, really impressed. So before I just go about my day, I am going to insert a few more close-ups. So just a close-up on this camera right here. And then I'm also going to take a few more videos on my phone in this lighting, and then also in natural lighting so you guys can see how it looks. But yeah, so far I am very, very impressed with how it looks, but only time will tell, so I will see you guys in a few hours. Alright, you guys, so it is now a fair few hours later. It is currently just gone 11 o'clock at night, which means I've had this foundation on for give or take around 9 hours. I did obviously reapply my lipstick because I ate a lot of food in those 9 hours and it just looked a little bit crazy. This foundation looks exactly the same, pretty much. Like, my skin looks so good, and for like the first time in a very long time, I have no crease marks around my smile lines. A little tiny bit on this side, but this side here without any of the primer, there's like the faintest little line, but that's it. I'm literally so impressed with this makeup. And I mean, you can see that like my concealer and my mascara has run under my eyes. I was out and about today. I shot a few pictures. By the way, foundation photographs amazingly, so just a heads up on that. But yeah, every other part of my makeup has started to break down, like around my eyes and everything. But the foundation, it looks exactly the same. I love it. To be honest, I'm just looking at like both sides of my face now. Now that I've worn it for a little while, or 9 hours to be precise, neither side looks that different. So I wouldn't necessarily say that the primer makes much difference. I would say it makes difference in terms of how the foundation looks, but it doesn't make a difference in terms of how the foundation wears. But I mean, having this on for 9 hours, and like I said, being out and about and all that jazz, it looks so good. It looks like I've had this on for like an hour or two max. No patchiness around like any of the powders or anything like that. They're all sitting on my skin fine. There doesn't really seem to be any transfer either. Like obviously I did change my top. Let me just try it here. Just get my sleeve. Hopefully it won't transfer because this is a clean top. Nothing. Honestly, I mean, I was expecting to like this foundation because I liked it when I first put it on, but now I'm like way more impressed by it just because of how good it looks after such a long time. I honestly like, I'm looking on my skin now to see if I can find any kind of imperfection on it, but literally like, it's completely stayed. Like there's creasing under my eye from my concealer, my mascara is running a little bit, but my base makeup looks pretty much like I've just applied it. Yeah, I honestly think this might be one of my new favorite foundations. Like for my more kind of like everyday natural days, I do tend to go for the Born This Way foundation by Too Faced. This one is a lot more dewy, but this, if I want something a bit more intense, a bit more like just intense for filming or for photos, if I just want something to last a really, really long time, this is the guy. And also, I don't think I mentioned before, I didn't even check, but this You get 30ml in this, so standard size of foundation as well. I cannot get over how good my skin looks right now. So guys, those are my thoughts on the new NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. Like I did before, I am going to do a few cutaways, so I'll do a little close-up of what my skin looks like now, maybe in comparison to how it looked when I first applied it. And then obviously, since it is like nighttime now, there is no natural light that I can stand up against a window and take a video of on my phone. So I will just insert like regular phone footage or whatever where I can. But I think we can all agree that after having this beige stuff on my face for over 9 hours, it's looking pretty damn good. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully some of you found it helpful. If you did, then as always, please do give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you don't want to see more of me, because as you all know, I upload all the damn time. Also, like I say in all of my foundation wear test videos, if you have any other experiences with this product, if you have different skin to me and you have a different experience with it, please let everyone know in the comments so we can kind of get an idea as to how it works for you guys. But for me, I bloody love it. But apart from that, that is it from me. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.